I want to feel like it's okay that I'm here.
What it is, friend, it is common with our physical cohorts. In other words, those of you who are physical counterparts of the non-physical family of teachers, in this case specifically of Abraham, are highly evolved beings who know your power. And so there is this feeling, sometimes a frustrating one, of being trapped in the mundaneness of the physical. It would be like knowing you are an eagle who can soar and then having somebody clip your wings and say, you're an eagle, but here eagles don't fly. And so you're walking around on the ground knowing, remembering what it was like to fly, but not being able to get off the ground. And that is the whole point of our discussion with you here. The majority of the world is not ready to hear what we have talked about here tonight. Can you imagine the majority of them here? They would leave saying, I knew Esther was crazy, and now I'm certain that Abraham is. In other words, they are not ready to accept their limitlessness. They are not ready to acknowledge the universe, this physical realm, as their play shop. But you are ready for it. But you have been fostered intellectually, mentally, by the world that isn't ready, and so you still struggle back and forth. There is a part of you that is ready to soar and does soar. It is the feeling of limitation that you describe to us. And it is that feeling of limitation that we have been addressing here all evening, is it not? Just leaving the physical part aside for a minute while you acknowledge how powerful you are. What do you think? Let us take another issue to bring forth some clarity. Why do you think, let us say that you are a physical being, not hard to say, you are, and you have something that has been diagnosed as the common cold, and you feel miserable. Do you fear for your life under those conditions? And so this common cold, for which there is no cure, does not take your life, you see. But what if, in your not even feeling so miserable, in fact you feel pretty good, you are told that you have cancer? Are you understanding why cancer more often takes your life? Because the physical trappings, the physical evidence have produced that expectation, and so the word fills you with the fear brings you to your physical end. Even though there is far more discomfort with the common cold, for which there is no cure either. But your expectation that it isn't serious, your expectation that it will go away, causes you to release it. And in exactly the same way you could release the cancer, or the AIDS, or the whatever they have told you is terminal. Now, the reason that we brought forth that example is because the belief in cancer is part of that limitation that you struggle against. In other words, just one of them. There are so many physical beliefs that are not in harmony with your greater knowing. And so it is not unusual that from time to time you will just stand there and say, what am I doing here in this place of madness? When I know that we have the potential of experiencing only joy, why are we experiencing less than that? That is what it is.
Thank you.
We'll come to you next.
I just wanted to know your opinion of our educational system and our political system. You mentioned at one time that we're moving backwards. The United States is moving backwards.
The reason that we said that is because we know the value of freedom and the acknowledgement of it. And in your trying to protect your freedom, your action is backfiring on you. In your resistance to all of the things that you fear, you are creating all sorts of laws and legislation that bind you. It is the same thing that we've been talking about all evening. If you acknowledged yourselves as free, then you wouldn't be taking all of these actions that bind you more, you see. your educational system is bound up by bureaucracy also. Both of those agencies, really one part of the other, but are self-perpetuating agencies. In other words, they have discovered that if they can make it appear that there is a great problem, that then they can attract funds that supports their own reason for being. But it is toward the end of self-perpetuation, not toward the end of any sort of upliftment. And they have discovered that by putting emphasis upon the negative, that then they can get the funds, you see. Nobody gets funds by saying everything is perfect here. You have to have a big problem in order to have funds, because the funds are supposed to fix the problem, you see. And so everything is sort of working backwards in terms of the greater. But you see, as an individual, as a part of that, you can be infinitely productive just by not playing into that or buying into that or not acknowledging it. See yourself and your relationship with your students as supreme. Give that your full attention. And do not give any attention to the other.
Thank you.
Indeed.
I've been enjoying a new culture in Mexico. There's some observations that I would like to get your feedback on, and then also another aspect to it, and that is my feelings about going, and then once there, truly enjoying the people, but then wanting to get back as quick as I can to get out of it. As you drive in Mexico, as an example, you're going down the highway, there are crosses everywhere, which represent people who get killed. They have a tendency to take the accidents and pull them off to the side and leave them sit there so that people can see the results of their insanity. Yet when you're on that highway, you have to drive defensively and certainly intend a tremendous amount of safety, because in most cases you physically are not in so many cases, you're not in control of what somebody else is doing. I mean, huge semis pulling out to pass, and they're right there in front of you, and you have nowhere to go. And I've observed in that society down there that they accept an awful lot of things that are lack, and yet they're not happy with them. Yet, as a people, they are a very beautiful, gentle people. My question to you is and I seem to see, and maybe it's because I've been down there more, but week after week as I go into Mexico, it seems to become more insane. Is there any reason for that, or is it just that I become more cognizant of it?
The contrast between what you are accustomed to and that which you are seeing in a different culture is part of the reason that it feels so out of control. Most of them who are used to that do not feel the out of control. In other words, they are not feeling the concern in the driving as you are, because they are more accustomed to it. We have not noticed any appreciable difference in the amount of time that you have been traveling there. It is more that your tolerance for it is becoming shorter. In other words, your optimism about your reason for being there was a stronger balance in the beginning. As time goes by, that optimism is not so great, and so you are allowing yourself to see more reasons, more discomfort.
Okay, what I want to accomplish in Mexico is a very strong desire. The results that I'm seeing are not as rapid as I would like to see, but I see real improvement, real progress.
Good. Stay focused upon that.
When I make a decision to go, because I make appointments, I'm excited about it until I'm going to leave my little safe cocoon, my wonderful comfort zone. I know it's an arduous trip. I know that there will be discomforts along the way. As an example, today, when I started out over 500 miles from here, my air conditioning went out. And because I do not have a good enough command of the language, I drove home without air conditioning. Well, It's very hot, very humid, and I can't say that I was comfortable. And the closer I got to home, the happier I was, because I knew that I would be where I wanted to be. But my point of this is, in the process of accomplishing, in the process of acting, even inspired action, there are times that the journey, or a portion of the journey, is not as pleasant, either by not planning it, not truly determining it ahead of time, but there are things that are going to happen that are going to cause discomfort, or I have found have caused discomfort in my journey.
If you will give your attention to the balance of thought, in other words, we know that in a day you have things that please you and things that do not, and some on different subjects, some on same subjects, but it is the balance of thought and feeling that you offer regarding any topic that equals the experience that you live. You have so many things that you think about that you cannot stay wholly focused upon any one subject at any time. We are wanting to remind you, and it is you do not need a reminding because it is the basis of your question, but for sake of clarification we will state it anyway. You cannot take an unhappy journey on the way to a happy ending. But as you are pointing out, there are parts of it that are happy and parts of it are not happy, and so how do I know where this journey of mixed experience is taking me? And we say it is taking you to a mixed ending. It is taking you to an ending of satisfaction and to an ending of disappointment. Until it is a journey of pure happiness, it will not be an ending of pure happiness. It is just as simple as that. As you are setting forth your intent, in other words, launching your creation, starting from the inside out, I'm wanting to be free and happy and joyful, and I'm wanting to have an extension of my business in the country of Mexico. I'm wanting to have relationships with those who are honest and who are wanting and who are capable and willing. And I am willing to do whatever it takes, or whatever is in harmony with this intent. And so, having said that, then you are motivated to go there. You say, unless I am there, I cannot have the contacts, and so I will go there and I will find the contacts. Now you are upon your action, and you've been inspired to the action, and so now you are standing upon the brink. It is time for you to go or stay, but your momentum is that you will go, at least the momentum that has just started. There is momentum that has been established a long time ago that you will stay, and so this new momentum is for a time fighting against the old momentum. And so as you say, well, this is where I'm really wanting to be most of the time, but for today or for this week, it is my intent to turn my focus away from this and give it fully to this, with the expectation that this action will reap great reward. And so off you go. You're all buoyed up. You're feeling very good, and as you are going down this highway, a different highway that you're accustomed to here, a highway that is very crowded and very different, you have a few harrowing experiences that get you focused a little bit on lack, just momentarily. And you find yourself thinking, by contrast, by giving your attention to what is missing here that is better there, again it is the comparison, rather than focusing upon how glorious it is that this road has been paved. In other words, you're not hacking your way through the cactus, you're not driving through the rocks, you're not on the back of a horse. You have a vehicle with wheels that is actually going down a paved highway into a very underdeveloped country. Is that not wonderful? And it is, obviously you're not the only one who thinks so, because this highway is crowded with all sorts of beings who are also seeking the benefit of traveling on this glorious road that is taking you toward the happy ending that you seek. And so now you don't mind the bumps so much. In other words, you are focused upon the benefit of that road rather than comparing it to a road that is ultimately, by anyone's standards, very much better. But now you are acknowledging the beauty of this road. As you begin to acknowledge, as you have already to us, the warmth and the willingness and the friendliness of the people, and most importantly, as you acknowledge your own sense of well-being. In other words, we heard you bite your tongue as you were talking about the danger of the travel, because you knew we would jump all over you, because you know that you are as safe as you intend or believe that you are, and that even under arduous conditions, everybody could be banging into everybody, and it need not affect your experience when you are feeling secure and safe within your own realm, you see. And so as you're watching them bump into each other, acknowledge it and say, is it not nice that I am, amidst all of this inconvenience, feeling so very safe, being so very safe. You are getting the point?